Lesson 13, Kriya. Kriya is described in chapter 2 of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Not at the beginning of chapter 2, but starting from Sutra 21. Now why do we start in the middle of chapter 2? Why do we not start at the beginning of chapter 1? That is because there is a very logical build-up. We have laid the foundation with asana practice, study of yama and niyama, which is described in chapter 1. The beginning of chapter 2 is the introduction of pranayama. So up until Sutra 20, Nadi Shodhana pranayama is explained. Nadi Shodhana. Nadi means energy channels. Shodhana means purification, cleansing. So Nadi Shodhana pranayama is an exercise that prepares you for the 8 pranayama exercises that follow. You cannot make energy circulate and accelerate, more importantly, if the energy channels, the nadis, are not up to capacity. If there are blockages, obstacles in the energy channels that slow down energy circulation. The Nadi Shodhana pranayama is an exercise to increase the capacity of the energy channels, to cleanse them of obstacles, so that you can increasingly accelerate energy circulation. But the author of the book, Svatmarama, realized that not everybody might be up to par, might be ready for pranayama, and thus he says, chapter 2, Sutra 21, Svatmarama says, after laying the foundation with asana, yama, niyama, and various other conditions that need to be met, and the introduction of Nadi Shodhana pranayama, he says, wait a minute. Sutra 21, one who is flabby and phlegmatic should first, before the practice of pranayama, practice the 6 acts. Others who do not have these defects should not practice them. The 3 humors, wind, bile, and phlegm, being equally balanced in them. Have you read the text? And you got a knot in your brain because it sounds very interesting and mysterious, but you have no idea what it means. All the yoga books, the real yoga books, are written in this kind of language. It's inaccessible. So let us try to put that into practical language. One who is flabby and phlegmatic is a person who is still in a tamas condition. Your preparations have not been enough yet. You're still relatively low in energy, and that energy is not so harmonious, so sattvic yet. So Svatmarama is saying, if you're still tamas, flabby and phlegmatic are tamas problems, you should first go through the 6 acts, the 6 exercises that are then being proposed following. He also says, if you are in a good condition, if you're not tamas anymore, you can skip these exercises. You don't have to do the Kriya exercises. Because the three humors, wind, bile and phlegm, are equally balanced in you. What does that mean? Simply, you are full of energy, and not just that, but that energy is sattvic. Wind, bile and phlegm are equally balanced. So in practical language, that just means you are in a good condition, you've done your preparations, practicing asana and concentration diligently. If that's the case, you can skip the Kriya exercises. All of us will do the Kriya exercises because this is a teacher training after all. So it's good that you know how it works. Not only that, it will bring you towards lesson 19 and prepare you to do pranayama properly. 22nd Sutra. These 6 acts, kriyas, are named Dhauti, Vashti, Neti, Trataka, Nauli, and Kapalabhati. Anybody among you who knows the Kriya exercises? Have you tried? Wait, I'm very interested now. What did you do?
I was a teenager, it's more than 20 years ago, I can't remember.
Yes, no, but what did you do?
Not Neti, I know that, but a couple of other, I think I remember.
But practically, what did you do? What were you told to do?
From what was that the one with the kind of like diaphragm flat?
Okay. Kapalabhati.
Yeah.
Okay. You did? Kriya?
It's like some.
Deti?
Yes.
Anybody who did Dhauti? Or Vashti? God be praised. You see, the ones they have done are the innocent ones. Many teachers say they let you do horrible things with Kriya, and then when you ask the teacher, hey, why are you not doing this with us? The teacher will say, yes, but my wind, bile and phlegm are equally balanced, so I don't have to do this anymore. And they hand you out some torture tools. But let's have a look at Sutra 23, which is crucial. These 6 acts that purify the body should be kept secret, as they produce various wonderful results, and as such are held in high esteem by great yogins. This should be kept secret. If you write a book and you say, what follows now should be kept secret, then what are you going to write next? Are you just going to write the secret so that everybody can see what is supposed to be secret? No, of course not. What you do is Sutra 24. Here, Dhauti is described. Slowly swallow. Try to imagine this. Try to visualize this. Slowly swallow a wet piece of cloth, 4 fingers broad and 15 spans long, according to the instructions of the Guru. Draw it out again. This process is called Dhauti. People all over the world throughout the centuries have made a very stupid mistake. First, they read Sutra 23 that says this is a big secret and must remain so. Then Sutra 24 gives you the secret and tells you to swallow a wet piece of cloth. Can you imagine? 15 spans long, that's like very long. 50, a span is the length of the forearm. It's like a roll of bandage. You swallow it up, you let it soak in your stomach, and you pull it out again, and you feel very holy. I survived Dhauti. But the sutra clearly says, according to the instructions of the guru. That is the next key information that many people don't see. The first point of information is that people don't see the word secret or don't interpret that properly. So they think what follows next, it's a secret, but I have access to it. Wow, swallow a piece of cloth and wow. Only select few of people can do that. Yeah, of course. Only if you're crazy you will do this. The guru is somebody supposed to be properly initiated into the secret and knows that this is a booby trap. You know what a booby trap is? What is booby trap in Korean? A booby trap. You walk in the jungle, you step on the mine and boom, it explodes. Or you open the door, there is a bucket of water, you open the door and the bucket of water falls on your head. That is a booby trap. This is a booby trap. Sutra 22 warns you. What follows is secret. Sutra 24 says, you must do this under the guidance of somebody who's properly initiated. If not, then swallow the piece of cloth and damage yourself. Remember, you already have the proper idea now that yoga is about healing, is about growth and development, is about harmony. Now there is an exercise here that if you put that into practice, literally following the text, you're actually going to damage your throat, your esophagus, your stomach. That can never be meant to be like that. Yoga is not about violence, it's not about damaging. Okay, then what is this about? If you look at other yoga courses, the structure, probably there is no Kriya involved. And if it is, they do the innocent ones, Neti and Kapalabhati. Only in extreme cases, they will propose Dhauti. And the next one, Vashti. But there is no logic, there is no coherence between asana and pranayama. Kriya is supposed to be the bridge that prepares you. How does swallowing a piece of cloth prepare you for breath control or energy control? It doesn't. So if you are smart, the bells would start ringing and you would say, hey, something here doesn't make sense. And you should start asking questions. Or find another yoga school. Often when you ask questions, the teacher does not. Actually, when you ask questions, you leave with more questions. And you don't find answers. Because the teacher is not, a guru is not properly initiated. Now, another thing. Why is this so secret? You have to understand that, you have to see the text from the perspective of a society that was totally different from our modern society, where everybody has developed Ajna Chakra, where life is full of rules, order. That is how our societies have been built throughout thousands of years. But regular education is something of the past 100, 200 years. Regular education started in the monasteries and the temples of ancient times. And approximately 500 years ago, it started slowly to spread among normal people. Before that, the way people functioned was more or less like animals function. Based on instincts, emotions and desires. Yoga is proposing a system that empowers people. But if you are functioning on a low level of instinct, emotions and desires, and that is being empowered, reinforced by a system like yoga, you become capable of evil. Can you understand that? That is why in the past a guru, a yoga teacher, was very selective about who they will share their knowledge with, their secrets with. We live in another time now, so it's very easy to misinterpret this. There is nothing secret about this, there is nothing mysterious about this, but in the past, the world was a very dangerous place. Even up to 100 years ago, the world was a very dangerous place. You have no idea in the modern life that we live these days. But only 100, 150 years ago, statistically, 50% of all people died prematurely because of violence. 50%, that's 1 in 2. That is incomparable with the world that we live in now, at least in civilized countries like Korea, Japan, Europe, America. There are still some very dangerous places in the world, but more and more rare. But try to imagine, half of the population dies prematurely by violence. And then another percentage by disease. Not many people really lived to become older than 40 years. People 60, 70 years, 80 years old, 100, 150 years ago was rare. The farther you go back into history, the more this applies. So with that in mind, you can imagine that the yoga teachers of the past were very selective to initiate. And they usually did that one-on-one. If you wanted to be initiated into the secrets of yoga, you would live in with the yoga teacher. Prepare their meals, clean their hut, and for the next 10 years, on a daily basis, you receive the lessons from the yogi, from the guru. So we live in a totally different time, but that explains why we come across this. If you understand this, all the mystery, all the clouds of ignorance and dogma are gone. So what is Dhauti about? Swallow a piece of cloth. This is an exercise in clever visualization. Because we are all doubting Thomases, I'm going to tell you, hey, Shiva energy. You remember Shiva energy? Shiva energy flows from the top to the bottom. Now close your eyes and let Shiva flow from the top to the bottom. What will you do? You will scratch your head and say, what the hell am I supposed to do? I can't touch it, I can't see it, smell it. That is weird. Impossible. You start with visualization. And you repeat, and you start to feel something. The doubting Thomas start to actually feel that there is energy whirling around. It has always whirled around. Energy has always been there. But you never learned how to see it. The Kriya exercises are designed to help you to see the energy. Not through the energy, but with a visualization. So I did not bring a bag full of bandages for you to swallow. We're going to visualize what Svatmarama here proposes. You follow a tract from Ajna Chakra to the stomach, which is Manipura Chakra, the fire center, and you're specifically told to pull it out again. You go down, you go up. This is the start of pranayama, literally. But it starts with visualization because it's very difficult to grasp in the beginning. But very soon, already after a couple of kriyas, it all starts making sense. You will also see that all those kriyas form one whole if you do it properly. While if you take them literally, they're all standing on their own. There is no connection between them. There is no coherent structure if you take the text literally. But if you interpret it beyond the symbolism, you start to see that it creates one structure that leads you to energy control, to pranayama. So we look at it from the anatomy of yoga. You have Ajna Chakra. Anahata, no, Vishuddhi. Ajna, Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura. Throat, heart, fire center. Midsection, diaphragm. The mouth, you swallow a piece of cloth through the mouth. The mouth is often not literally the physical mouth, but Ajna Chakra. The cosmic mouth. So you visualize piece of cloth descending from Ajna Chakra down to the throat, down to the heart, down to Manipura Chakra. Energy that goes from the top to the bottom is Shiva. That is not so important yet. There can be a distraction, but just to make the picture clear that what you are doing here is not a fantasy, it is a very clever, powerful visualization technique. Then you are told to pull the bandage out, the piece of cloth. I use the color red because that is Shakti. What do you have to do? Nothing, only this. Don't try to rationalize, oh, I'm visualizing eating, swallowing a piece of cloth, so where is my Shiva? Because it doesn't work like that. If you ask yourself, where is my Shiva, you stay on mental level and you will not feel. Because feeling is more subtle than thinking. So in silence, you visualize the piece of cloth and you just focus on that. In the silence, you will actually start to feel something. I usually feel some stirring or excitement, but very subtle, especially in the chest, the heart chakra, and Manipura chakra. I already thinking about it, talking about it gives me goosebumps in my neck. It's all energy. So when you do that with your eyes closed, it happened thousands of times since you were born, you just didn't see it. Now you do it with your eyes closed, in silence, and you actually start to feel something. It's subtle, but it's there. And you feel it, especially when you do it in silence with your eyes closed. Yes, Sia?
How specific does the visualization need to be? For example, like the color of...
That, good question. That is very individual. That is very personal. Because today is the first time, you use Svatmarama's suggestion to visualize swallowing a piece of cloth. But when you do this, and you repeat it, you will notice that the piece of cloth actually becomes a distraction. You might just visualize Ajna Chakra, you concentrate on nada, and you then move your focus down without visualizing a piece of cloth. Swallow. If you visualize swallowing a piece of cloth, you may actually get nauseous, because if you would do it literally, it would make you want to vomit. So it can be a distraction. But just something to hold on to, something concrete. You don't know what to do, you don't know how to feel or visualize energy going from Ajna Chakra to Manipura. Use the visualization of the piece of cloth, but if you don't need it anymore, simply focus on the tract, the route from Ajna Chakra to the throat, to the heart, to Manipura Chakra, and back up again. Yes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long is a span? Is it an arm length?
One span, I think, is the length of a forearm.
Oh, so 15 is very long.
It's quite long. It's about 3-4 meters, at least.
I haven't done it, but I saw it.
I've seen it too. If you search YouTube, you probably come across some crazy yogi who's actually...
I saw.
Yes, but they don't look healthy, I tell you that in advance.
Is it physically possible to actually swallow that much?
Yes.
Or if you want to try, there are people who do that, yeah. But I don't recommend you to do something like that. It's harmful.
Technically, it's the same when you screen your stomach with the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
With the not closed, but the doctor give you a strap.
An internal.
Same thing, yeah. The same, a little bit the same technically.
Okay. So hey, this is what we do. Meditation is 20 minutes now. It increases by 5 minutes. And your main activity will be exploring with a curious mind the idea of Dhauti. How long? You have 20 minutes. Explore as long as you feel interest. You have to have a certain interest to do this. There comes a point, like when you stand in asana, there comes a point that you lose interest. You're not engaged anymore. Your heart and soul is not in it anymore. When that moment comes, what do? You spend the rest of the time of the meditation in concentration on nada, which you will notice as a result of your endeavor in Dhauti is more intense than it has been before. Okay? This is not easy. It's weird. It's strange. Especially because it's the first time. So you just have to play with it. Explore it like a little child that has a new toy with curiosity. You will see. At first, weird, strange, but then you start to notice that it really has an effect. And that's the only thing that counts. That's the only thing that matters. Yeah? Yeah, Sia?
So once we make it go down and then come up, do we repeat it or?
Yes, if you feel like. Repeat it as often as you feel like, until you lose interest, and then you switch to concentration on nada. Yeah? Good question.